I like EVs. EVs need to sell in the motor trade. I'm a bit wary about the safety. In fact, I'm a lot wary about the safety. As I've said before, there's a flat on the docks that I really, really liked, but there's an underground car park. I ain't living anywhere that there's an underground car park. Iran is launching repeated ballistic missile strikes at Israel. Now you'd think, what's worse, a ballistic missile or an electric car? It looks like the Israelis are more frightened of electric vehicles than they are of Iran's ballistic missiles hitting them, and ordered the EVs to be moved from the ports. And you want them charging in your garage downstairs. I ain't living anywhere where there's only one exit. I'll tell you that for nothing. So I walk into town, the place where I charge my EV. When I'm going past, when there's other EVs charging, when I'm walking past, I walk over the other side of the road. Seriously, I do not trust them. Last thing I do at night, I go around and I unplug everything. I unplug all the chargers and everything that's charging that's got a lithium battery in. And I also try and move things with lithium batteries away from stuff that will catch fire. I've even got an explosive bag for my GoPros, because you charge those a few times and the battery swells up. Same with digital watches. So I thought, you know, I have been a bit hard on them about lithium batteries exploding and fires and stuff. So I'll try and read something positive. You know, something to put things into perspective, because people are always telling me that petrols catch fire a lot more. I don't think it's the case. I really don't think it's the case. There's a couple of reasons why I don't think that the statistics are fair with ice fires and electric fires. One, because there's many, many more ice cars on the road. There's many, many more older ice cars on the road. There's plenty of vehicles that, I mean, for instance, if you were to go around here and count scooter fires, I've done a blog on some lads that were pinching scooters in the park that I caught, and they used to drive around in them, terrorise people up and down the footpath, and then set them on fire. I got one of the lads' fingerprints and they caught them. It was a fair while later, but they got them. So if you were to look at scooter fires in this postcode, the park's there, that's where they set them on fire. So if you were to look at scooter fires, you'd think, Jesus, that's terrible. But it was like a handful of yobbos nicking them and setting fire to them. There was loads. Every time you went out in the morning, there was a burnt out scooter in the park. So that, you know, and then you get the joyriders, where they joyride them, don't want to leave fingerprints, do they? So they torch them. Make sure there's no fingerprints, no evidence, no DNA, no hair samples, no nothing, all gone up in smoke. That's why they torch them. Apparently those are all included in the statistics for ice fires. But anyway, Buzz, enough of that. Let's read somebody who's I was going to say on the opposite side of the fence, but I'm right in the middle. I'm completely impartial. So here you go. One of the most frequently asked questions we are asked is, let's just see who this is. Rap Hankins, community activist, president of Drive Electric Dayton, Harvard University, John F. Kennedy School of Government. Now, he's sounding like a pretty clever guy. So I'm just going to read what he says, and we'll take it as read. It don't matter how clever these blokes are. They're always biased and they always bend the truth. One of the most frequently asked questions we are asked is, are EVs dangerous? And how often do they catch on fire? Here is an educational response from your Electric Vehicle Association and your friends at Drive Electric Dayton. Every few months a headline pops up stoking fears about EV fires. Let's cut through the smoke. The truth is, EVs are far less likely to catch fire than their gas-powered cousins. Yes, less likely. Multiple studies across the globe, Australia, Sweden, and even Tesla's own data tell the same story. Gas cars are up to 80 times more likely to catch fire. EV FireSafe, funded by Australia's Department of Defence, found electric cars had a fire risk of just 0.0012% compared to 0.1% for gas-powered cars. Part of it is unfamiliarity. EVs are still new to some folk, and it's human nature to worry about what we don't understand. No, it's human nature to worry about getting burnt alive in your EV, or at home, or if it's a bus, or wherever, at work, in a car park, in the Channel Tunnel. So why the drama? But if we applied the same level of scrutiny to gas vehicles, machines that carry flammable liquid in a hot engine compartment, people would question why we ever allowed them in our garages. But we know for 100 years now. And here's a little perspective. According to the National Safety Council, your odds of dying in a car crash are 1 in 95. Drowning, 1 in 1073. EV battery fire, about 1 in 83,000. Well, to be fair, I think my chances of drowning are probably less than being killed in an EV fire. It's just me. We should worry more about highway or swimming accidents, not a Chevy Bolt or Tesla Model Y catching fire. EVs are held to high safety standards. Their batteries are sealed, tested under extreme conditions, and surrounded by crash-resistant frames. There are more than 4 million EVs on US roads. They're parked in private and public garages, shopping centres, and quietly on just about every street. Still, the misleading stories persist on cable news, showing fiery footage of EVs burning in charging stations, in parking structures, and in their owners' home garages. The news headlines are inaccurate. Most vehicle fires of all types occur on the highway. Only 16% of fires happen when a vehicle is parked in a garage. And yet we see all those EV fires and when they're parked up in a garage or a charger. Not too many, although there are a few on the highway. Fear shouldn't steer policy or perception when it comes to fire risk. The evidence is clear. EVs are among the safest vehicles ever made. So let's drive the conversation with facts, not fear. EVs are hot and fast. EVs for all. Rap Hankins. So let's just scoot on to the next story. Electric car fires in Scotland could be massively underreported, experts warn. Scots police and firefighters say outdated recorded systems are to blame for a lack of accurate data on EV blazes. This is by Mary Wright and Dan Vevers, Sunday Mail chief reporter. 31st of July. The number of electric car fires could be hugely underreported, police and the fire service have claimed. New data shows only 17 electric vehicle EV fires recorded in Scotland since 2020 to 2024, despite more than 80,000 of the cars believed to be on the road at the end of last year. The Home Office incident recording system relies on a predetermined list of categories to record incidents, which excludes a specific category to record lithium batteries, electric vehicles, e-bikes or e-scooters. It said it is contributing to a group supporting the Scottish Government and Home Office in a review of the IRS platform. The Scottish Police Federation said it had also flagged up concerns over EV fires. Its General Secretary, David Kennedy, said the lack of specific guidance and up-to-date equipment tailored to EV fires is something we believe needs urgent attention. We also share concerns about outdated recording systems, which mean the true scale of the risk is not fully understood or reported. EV fires can hit 600 to 2,760 degrees centigrade, and first responders can be exposed to dangers including hydrogen cyanide, hydrogen fluoride, and hydrogen chloride. I'm guessing that's not good. EV fires can take much longer to extinguish and can reignite. You know, it's about time that they've come up with this, because as we've just seen, EV fires, you know, they're only a very, very small percentage of ICE fires. And you know those petrol tank systems that years and years ago, they created a system to put flames out as soon as the petrol tank ignited, because it happens that often. No? Can you not remember that? Me neither. And you know why? because it's never happened. But because there's so few electric fires in EVs, these people have built a battery with a built-in fire suppressant system. Now, why do you think they've done that? Yeah? Why do you think they've done that? They never catch fire. So they've built this specially. Here you go. Chinese researchers developed a revolutionary lithium metal battery with built-in fire suppressant that prevents explosions and fires, but they don't catch fire. The prototype includes a polymer that releases flame-retardant chemicals when temperatures exceed 100 degrees centigrade, acting like a miniature fire extinguisher. During testing, while standard batteries reached 1000 degrees centigrade and ignited within 13 minutes, the new design peaked at just 220 degrees centigrade without catching fire. This breakthrough could make electric vehicles much safer and enable wider adoption of lithium metal batteries, which store up to 10 times more energy than current lithium ion cells. And there's a lovely picture there of looks like a very nice car, and it's all on fire. Plugged into a charger and it's all on fire. No more EV fires. Scientists develop new lithium battery with built-in fire extinguisher. Vacuum cleaner causes car fire. I wonder if it was an ICE car that was on fire. It's not just EV traction batteries that cause car fires. The lithium-ion battery in a backpack vacuum cleaner exploded inside a car in Cumberland County, Pennsylvania, causing burn damage to the car's interior. Even the Li-ion batteries in power tools, vacuum cleaners and cell phones can go into thermal runaway when they're damaged or get too hot. It's unclear what causes the battery in this story to fail, but this serves as a reminder not to leave the Li-ion battery-powered device in a hot vehicle. The risk of fires is very real. There we go, we've got, that's what's left of the vacuum cleaner, and I do know the car was a mess too. So that's a lithium battery-powered vacuum cleaner that did for an ICE vehicle there. It gets worse, doesn't it? A concerning video from a repair shop in Perth, Australia is making the rounds on social media. The footage captures a technician working on a lithium-ion scooter that unexpectedly started off gassing, leading to a thermal runaway situation. Within a minute, the explosive off-gassing and intense flames completely engulfed the room, showcasing the inherent dangers associated with these technologies. This real-world example caught on CCTV serves as a stark reminder of the potential risks involved with lithium-ion batteries and the importance of handling them with the utmost care. There's one that finishes off his reports that says, EVs are the future. Oh, goodness. So that's vacuum cleaners, e-scooters. Oh, my word. Neil Pedersen, Chief Executive Officer at Fire Containers. Serious LIB fire in London garage. So yesterday afternoon we had a call to assist London Fire Brigade, LFB, as they'd been on the scene for 24 hours. They'd been on the scene for 24 hours at a serious garage fire. The fire started when the battery pack was removed from a Porsche Cayenne and the vehicle was up on the hydraulic ramps. Our EVRU, based in Staffordshire, was mobilised to assist LFB, successfully brought the incident to a close, much to the relief of LFB, insurance company and garage owners. Our units are now becoming the first line for EV and LIB incidents across the UK. What is it? There you go. It's a big skip with water in, I think. I could be doing them a disservice then, and I don't want to do that because this service is needed, but let's just have a look. So there you go, it looks like a big skip. There's the battery. Absolutely burnt to a crisp. Fire Containers, will give them a plug as well. It's not looking good in that garage. Oh, and the Taycan's not looking very good either. All the roof's burnt out there of the garage. Ramps all burnt. That looks like the battery to start off with, although they must have got the battery out and dragged it out to put it in that container so it won't reignite, because they can reignite forever. I can't actually see any drag marks there, so I don't know. But look at the state. Somebody went to work in the morning and by the afternoon had got no business. So that's it. So that's just repairing batteries. That's when they're not. That's when they're taking it out to do some work on it. It's probably failed a battery certificate test, and they're taking it out to pop a new cell in it. You know, like they do. They just repair the cells. God. Well, you know, this story started off. I was trying to do a positive EV story. Oh my word, what have we got here? Oh God, listen, you EV boys, all you EV people that email me to say that petrol cars go up a lot more. Those people putting that battery out at that garage were on scene 24 hours. Have you ever seen a petrol car being put out for 24 hours? I don't think you have. Tesla Model 3 crash shows just how nasty EV fires can get. This is August the 12th. We're on August the 13th. A drunk Tesla driver crashes into streetlights, sparking fire. A Tesla electric vehicle driven by an intoxicated individual collided with, well, you know, what's happened to his autopilot and all the crash protection systems. A Tesla electric vehicle driven by an intoxicated individual collided with a streetlight at Incheon, I'm not even saying that, South Korea, resulting in a fire. So there we go. Not looking good. According to the Incheon Fire Department in South Korea, a report of a Tesla Model 3 electric vehicle on fire broke out on a road in wherever that is, South Korea, was received by 119 at approximately 12:34 on Thursday. Firefighters dispatched to the scene immediately began extinguishing the fire after noticing smoke coming from the underbody of the vehicle. Considering the nature of electric vehicle fires, specialised equipment, including a mobile water tank, was deployed to extinguish the fire. The situation was so dire that 44 firefighters and 16 pieces of equipment were deployed to extinguish the fire. Fire authorities were only able to completely extinguish the fire at approximately 3:53 a.m., approximately 3 hours and 10 minutes after receiving the report. Risks of electric vehicle battery fires. Fire authorities are investigating the cause of the fire as being damage to the battery pack caused by the impact of the traffic accident. Fire authorities are currently conducting a thorough investigation to determine the exact cause of the fire. Meanwhile, police announced that they plan to charge the Tesla driver, identified as A, with drunk driving under the Road Traffic Act. Oh God, I hope this next one's good news. Milwaukee Independent. Vehicles powered by lithium-ion batteries face a serious threat of fire from saltwater flooding. Flooding from hurricanes Helen and Milton inflicted billions of dollars in damage across the southeast in September and October 2024, pushing buildings off their foundations and undercutting roads and bridges. It also caused dozens of electric vehicles and other battery-powered objects, such as scooters and golf carts, to catch fire. According to one tally, 11 electric cars and 48 lithium-ion batteries caught fire after exposure to salty floodwater from Helene. In some cases, these fires spread to homes.
It burst into flames. The fire spread to the home and burned it down.
What?
It was not plugged in. It was raised when 8 inches of water covered the floor. They lost the house, though. Experts advise that electric cars exposed to salt water be moved at least 50 feet from homes.
When a lithium battery pack bursts into flames, it releases toxic fumes, burns violently, and is extremely hard to put out. Frequently, firefighters' only option is to let it burn out by itself. Particularly when these batteries are soaked in salt water, they can become ticking time bombs. In the words of Florida State Fire Marshal Jimmy Petronis, that is because the fire does not always occur immediately when the battery is flooded. According to the National Highways Traffic Safety Administration, about 36 EVs flooded by Hurricane Ian in Florida in 2024 caught fire, including several that were being towed after the storm on flatbed trailers. So they weren't switched on, they were just on a flatbed trailer and they set on fire. Many consumers are unaware of this risk, and lithium-ion batteries are widely used in EVs and hybrid cars, e-bikes and scooters, electric lawnmowers and cordless power tools.
They were just dropping off jet skis, and then it said to get out of the car. It was warning her. She couldn't get out of the car, so the husband came with the jet ski and got her out.
This is what happens. What EV owners should know: Electric cars are still very safe to drive and own in most circumstances. However, during extreme situations like hurricanes and flooding, it is very important to keep EV battery packs from becoming submerged in water, particularly salt water. The same is true for other products that contain lithium-ion batteries. For EVs, this means evacuating cars out of the affected zone or parking them on high ground before flooding occurs. Go and park them on high ground and then come back in your Range Rover or your diesel car. Worst comes to worst. Somebody said, what happens when an ice engine's submerged in water? Duh. Because a Tesla set fire in 8 inches of salt water the other wasn't being charged. It was just in somebody's garage that got flooded, and it set off and, did all sorts of damage. So what if an ice vehicle gets submerged in water? Duh. Nothing. Nothing happens until you try to start it. And if there's a load of flipping water gone into the air intake, then the water is sucked in. It used to particularly happen in Astra GTs because the air intake was under the wheel arch. So if you went through any water, it would suck air in, liquids can't be compressed, and it writes your engine off. But that's all it does. Don't burn your house down. And it only does that if you try to drive it out of the water. Otherwise, all you need to do is check the oil, make sure there's no water in the oil, make sure there's no water up the exhaust, blow it out, start it, and you're away on your travels. So, if you own an EV that has been submerged in water for hours to days, particularly in salt water, public safety experts recommend treating it as a fire hazard and placing it on open ground away from other valuable property. Do not attempt to charge or operate it. Contact the manufacturer for an inspection to assess battery damage. Often, a flooded electric vehicle will need to be towed away for further inspection. However, since thermal runaway can occur well after submersion, the car should not be moved until it is professionally assessed. What a joke. Oh dear, what's the next story, for goodness sake? Oh, go. I'm just going to give it a minute while you EV people go and get some paracetamol and stiff whiskey or something. So I do these stories and these reports, and I always refer to articles, and they always say, "Oh, that's bullshit." So this article is from the Ontario Association of Fire Chiefs. Bullshit. It's like the other day, that the fire on the campsite. Somebody said that had burnt out somewhere else and they dragged it there. You're accusing firemen who run towards danger to save you of moving an EV and making it look like it had been on fire. Because that's what firemen do. Because they're all liars. They're all con people. They're all big petrol heads. And they risk their life. They risk their life for everybody. But they just don't like EVs. So they doctor photographs, Photoshop them. You thick. Whatever. Gatineau firefighters contain electric vehicle fire in high-rise garage. Gatineau firefighters kept a vehicle fire contained Sunday night, but the smoke it produced required evacuating a 12-storey high-rise. Now, again, bearing in mind, the smoke's toxic, it can kill you, or cause irreparable lung and tissue damage. According to a news release, firefighters were called to an underground garage at 401 Rue Champlain at around 8:40 p.m. on reports of an electric vehicle was ablaze. A quick response kept the damage contained to the vehicle in question. The Gatineau Fire Service says, however, around 400 people were told to evacuate because of the smoke. The scene was cleared 3 hours later and no one was reported hurt. That was just because of the smoke off it, not the flames. Now to me, this puts it all into perspective. The Maritime Executive. Amidst Iranian airstrikes, Israel moves electric cars out of ports. Amidst an ongoing exchange of fire with Iran, Israel's Shipping and Ports Authority has ordered car importers to prepare to evacuate all electric vehicles from Israeli seaports. Battery electric vehicles and hybrid cars are prone to high-intensity fires, and the authority wants them dispersed out of the ports of Haifa and Ashdod. Iran has launched repeated rounds of ballistic missile strikes against targets in Israel, retaliating against ongoing Israeli strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities, missile complexes and senior leaders. Iran's missile forces have suffered attrition from the Israeli aerial campaign, but continue to deliver large-scale barrages reaching as far as Haifa and Tel Aviv. On Sunday morning, nearly 30 projectiles hit residential blocks in Tel Aviv and Nes Ziona. The ongoing threat of missile attacks promoted strict limits on public gatherings, and schools have been closed. The need to limit damage also prompted the order to prepare to evacuate electric cars from port storage lots. The logistical arrangements for relocating the vehicles remain uncertain, but large parking areas will be required. Israeli outlet Globes reports. Now, I'm not going to go any further than that. I'm not sure whether there's any more stories. But what I'm going to leave you with is, I'm struggling with this. Iran is launching repeated ballistic missile strikes at Israel. Now you'd think, what's worse, a ballistic missile or an electric car? It looks like the Israelis are more frightened of electric vehicles than they are of Iran's ballistic missiles hitting them, and ordered the EVs to be moved from the ports. And you want them charging in your garage downstairs. Would you have a ballistic missile in your garage downstairs? The Israelis would, but they wouldn't have an EV. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.